Hi, welcome back to Celebrating Culture. We're here today at Jewel of the South with Nick Dietrich. Nick, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Pleasure to be here.
This is great. The Jewel of the South obviously goes back to the 1860s, and you guys brought it back.
Yeah, Joseph Santini, he established the place sometime in the 1850s or 60s. We're not entirely sure of the exact date, but it was a place that was a resplendent example of saloons in New Orleans for at least 20 years.
Now, what's special about Santini?
Well, Santini was a very enterprising and creative restaurateur. He was a manager of the St. Charles Hotel, which at one point was considered to be the most extravagant hotel in the States. And after running that establishment, he then opened up Jewel of the South, very nearby on 158 Gravier. At Jewel of the South, he's most famous to cocktail nerds such as myself for being the first person to take an improved cocktail and squeeze fresh lemon juice into it, thus giving birth to gimlets and sidecars and pretty much any drink you have with citrus.
You know, we take that for granted. No one thinks who was the first to do it, but there's actually a book about that.
Well, Jerry Thomas wrote the first bartender's manual in 1863. He establishes that Joseph Santini was the inventor of the Brandy Crusta.
So Santini, 1860 is also the Civil War.
That's why I believe that the Crusta is probably older than the Civil War, just because of embargoes and all of the different things that would have come along with the unrest of that period. The Crusta was probably invented prior to that period. And during that time, you know, he continued to run his establishment until the Confederacy abandoned the city and then the Union moved in, and there was a militia called the Italian Brigade that helped to maintain order in the city, and it's probable that Santini was a big factor in that. They did hold meetings for that at his establishment, Jewel of the South, and probably at a smaller place, the Parlor, as well. And so because of that, he was able to really become a more predominant citizen of New Orleans after the Civil War.
The Confederates leave, and there really is no police force, but the Italians are looked at as most neutral. Mm-hmm. And there were some other nationalities as well that were seen as being neutral.
As far as the waves of immigration to New Orleans go, at the time of the Civil War, the Italians were the newest wave of immigration, and thus they weren't really considered to be a faction on either side. And so it made the most sense for them to help to govern the city in those waning years of the Civil War.
And as I read, actually in Algiers, there were fires, there were people that wanted to burn the city down rather than turn it over to the Union.
I mean, the Italian Brigade is the reason that we didn't lose the French Quarter to another fire in the 19th century.
I read that your partner, Chris, has done over 1 million French 75s.
He's close. He estimates that in about a year he'll be at the number 1 million. So we'll throw a party when he gets to that point.
The Brandy Crusta, is there anything that's like key?
I would say the key is the cognac, and then the fact that there is a nice dry curacao being made, you know, today. Maraschino was forgotten component, and sometimes people forget the bitters as well. But also like the fact that there was this large swath of lemon. You know, the gratuitous garnishing of this cocktail just gave showed the flair that Santini had when he was building this cocktail, which is why we chose 3 different types of sugar here. We have the standing black sugar. There's some pixie dust glitter sugar we like to call unicorn tears, and casting sugar, and regular Domino sugar, style green.
I understand you made a drink for an heir of Santini?
We did, yeah. He was here this last week. Great-great-grandson. And we got to make the Crusta. Right now I'm preparing the glass for the Brandy Crusta. The Brandy Crusta is the first sugar-rimmed cocktail. First, we're going to start with some Angostura bitters. Then we're going to do 3/4 ounce of lemon juice, 1/2 ounce of this dry orange curacao from Ferran, 1/4 ounce of maraschino liqueur. Ounce and 3/4 of the fine cognac. We're using Remy here. And we're going to garnish it with a full swathing peel of the lemon, just as Santini himself did. There we are. Brandy Crusta. Cheers.
To Joseph Santini.
Cheers.
And to the success of the Jewel of the South.
Thank you. I'll toast to that.
If someone wants to find you guys, what's your website?
Our website is jewelnola.com. We're at 1026 St. Louis Street.
I want to thank you for being on the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
And stay tuned. We'll be right back with more of Celebrating Culture.